Good morning, everyone. I'm Janet Miller, Vice Mayor, standing in for the mayor today, who is traveling and not able to be here. He sends his regrets. Before I get into today's topics and forget, I do want to invite you all back again to City Hall this afternoon at 1:30. We're going to be hosting a second briefing this afternoon and making an announcement. I'm not supposed to say what it's about, but to give you some hints, it's related to the color blue. How's that? Thank you to the Art Museum for hosting us today. We thought we would choose a venue that's related to one of the topics that we're talking about today. It's a perfect venue to make an exciting arts announcement about a report that has been recently released, and we always love getting this report because it tells us in quantifiable economic terms what arts and culture means to Wichita and our economy. So our arts and cultural organizations here in Wichita were asked by a national group called Americans for the Arts to survey in a very extensive way their visitors, audiences, and participants, and then return those surveys to the city's Division of Arts and Culture with John D'Angelo. And then all that information from Wichita, but other communities across the country, is all combined and into a report, which you have copies of here for your reading pleasure. And then that report is published for review, and each community can see their numbers. And so on Monday, Randy Cohen, who is the CEO of Americans for the Arts, will be here in Wichita, and he will, there is a lunch on the 26th, and he will be presenting the findings and some additional anecdotal information. He's a really great speaker, so if you haven't been and you're interested in hearing from him personally, I would really encourage and invite you to attend that. And if you have specific questions about the luncheon, Teresa Veazey in the back in the red dress will be able to answer those for us. So I don't want to steal all of Mr. Cohen's thunder, but just to give you a preview of some numbers, according to this recent survey, the nonprofit arts and culture industry here in Wichita generates $94.7 million in annual economic activity. And so it's important to remember that number, $94 million, when people start wondering, why does the city make investments in arts and culture in the community? Why do we support our museums? Why do we support Botanica? Why do we support activities related to arts and culture? And that's why, because that big dollar amount comes back to our community. The spending that breaks down to $43.9 million by the actual arts and cultural organizations themselves, and then an additional $50.8 million in event-related spending by their audiences. All that together supports 2,841 full-time equivalent jobs. That's a big number in our community, 2,841. And it generates $70.9 million in household income, $70.9 million in household income for local residents, and delivers $9.5 million in local and state government revenue. So of all of that spending, 9.5 of it comes back to the local and state governments in terms of taxes paid. So we consider this proof that, especially in Wichita, the arts really do mean business. When we say that, it's not just a passing phrase, it's actually a truth. So if you'd like more information, it's in the booklet there, or there's the AmericanForTheArts.org online. You can go there for more information on that topic. And John will be available for questions afterward, as will Teresa. So second topic for today, we've been having social media town hall budget meetings, and I believe you have a schedule Megan provided for you for the additional meeting that's coming up, town hall meetings are coming up, and then a schedule for other budget hearings that will happen between now and August when the city adopts its final budget. So we've hosted a couple of these town hall meetings in the past week, and it's an opportunity for citizens, for us, to have a real-time conversation with citizens about questions they have related to the budget, but also to ask them about specific issues that they have related to the budget and asking them to help us prioritize issues. So the topics that we ask about this time include customer service from the city. We've been working really hard on our customer service for the past several years because we know it's been an issue of concern. So we've been working on that, and we're kind of testing to see how we're doing in that. Talking about grounds maintenance, all of the grounds that the city of Wichita is responsible for maintaining, asking how we're doing about that. Looking some at sidewalk repair, and then talking about downtown investment and people's perception of how that's going and what they know about that. But then citizens were able to talk about, ask questions about, or make comments about anything else pertaining to city expenditures or budgets or revenue that they wanted to. And so I participated in a meeting Tuesday afternoon, and there were probably, I don't know, almost 15 staff members there, and all sitting at computers and responding through Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, answering questions. In some cases, staff would go on and do a Facebook Live presentation, and other times we were just answering electronically. Sometimes if we weren't able to answer the question, if it needed some more research, then we would forward it to someone who wasn't in the room for follow-up later. So just some results to show you. Let's see, the June 15th one, that was not this week's, but the previous week's meeting, we had a Facebook reach of 57,000 people, and we had 18,000 Twitter impressions. Between Facebook and Twitter, we received about 270 comments, and the busiest topic was traffic safety, followed by graffiti removal and street maintenance. And interestingly, two of those topics, traffic safety and street maintenance, those two topics have been on the city's agenda in a number of different ways for the past couple of years because citizens have been telling us those are important issues. So that's why you've heard the police chief talking about submitting a grant application for motorcycles, to do traffic enforcement via motorcycles, why we've been talking to neighborhoods about doing some traffic enforcement hotspots. And also street maintenance. You know, when we sold the Hyatt, we designated a good portion of those proceeds to do street maintenance, and we've been increasing our spending in our capital improvement program for the past several years to do street maintenance. So it sounds like we're making some progress. People are happy, but we still have some work to do in those areas. So yesterday it looked like we reached about 37,000 people through Facebook and 7,000 on Twitter. So the second meeting was even bigger. So we expect those numbers to climb. If you'd like to, I'm going off script here. This is always scary for the staff. They all tense up and get nervous. But if you'd like to come see what that social media town hall meeting looks like, you're welcome to come to the next one and get some images for that. So then next topic and last topic today is just a reminder about, now that we're getting into hot weather, it's time to remember and refresh the dangers of leaving pets and children in cars. We shouldn't do either one of those things, as temperatures can soar very quickly, even though we don't think they are. And if you've ever sat in a hot car wearing a fur coat, you can attest to how quickly a car gets hot. So on behalf of all pets and children, I ask you to pay attention to that and to not even leave kids in cars even with an air conditioner running. And our fire chief is here this morning, and he can attest to the work that his staff do to address those issues every year. And we had a very serious one here just recently, which you all covered in the media, so you're very well aware of that. Thank you for helping us get that message out. I think that's it for today. I'm glad to answer questions if you have any. Okay.
Were there any surprises from the town hall meetings, subjects coming up that maybe you weren't expecting?
You know, we haven't been, for a few years we didn't hear a lot about graffiti, and personally I was a little bit surprised about that popping up again, but we have had some renewed gang activity, which that's made the news, and usually when we see a spike in gang activity, we also see a spike in gang-related graffiti. not all graffiti is gang related, but we have seen some of that recently. But it's really, I like it when we hear citizens talking about that, because that means they're not just looking at it and driving by. They want to do something about it, and so they're asking how to report it. And we have, a way to do that now online with our Reported app, and so that's been helpful. Van, anybody else? Any other topics that were kind of unusual? People were asking about economic development issues, and they don't always ask about that. A lot of times they ask more about things that are very tangible, like safety, public safety, or fire response, those kind of things. But they did ask some questions. We got, I'll tell you one thing that was very pleasant to hear was we had a lot of people positively commenting on activities and development that they're seeing downtown. For a long time that was always, nothing's happening downtown, when are we going to do something about downtown? And we got a lot of positive comments about the pop-up parks, about Gallery Alley that just opened, and some other events. And Van, did you have something that you were going to mention? Downtown. Yeah, that was really, all of us in the room were real excited about that, because it shows that people are noticing what's happening down there, and being attracted to coming down there and checking it out. So that was neat.
You mentioned a spike in gang activity. Is that something that people brought up in the town halls at all?
No, we didn't really hear anything. I haven't heard any numbers specifically about that. I just know that we did have a homicide earlier this week or over the weekend. Maybe it was I've lost track of the date. Yes. That was believed to be gang related, and very unfortunately the deceased was not an intended target. And we've had some skirmishes in neighborhoods with drive-by shootings and that kind of thing. And the police have really jumped on that activity very quickly and have mobilized specific activities and initiatives to address those concerns. But we have not heard anything from citizens yet during these meetings about that. Thank you all very much for coming today. Appreciate it. And I do hope you can come at 1:30. It should be a fun announcement.